Hello everyone and welcome to the Graythorn Primary School Snow Sports Camp information for 2024. Now if you're viewing this presentation, it's probably because your child has come home with an information flyer saying, I'd really love to go on the snow camp next year and we would love to have them. But before we sign up, we just ask that everybody watch this presentation and fully understand the commitment that's involved and the things that you'll need to provide as a family and the things that you can hire. So what I'll be covering today in the program is the program description, so what's happening on each day of the snow camp, the staffing and the volunteers that will be coming along camp, the equipment that students can hire and the equipment that they will need to bring with them, clothing, snacks, evening student-led activities, and lastly, safety. Now, our program description is that we will be departing Graythorn Primary School at 6:15 a.m. on Tuesday the 30th of July, and we will be returning on Friday the 2nd of August at approximately 6:30 p.m. We will be staying at Kandahar Lodge, Mount Buller, and we've been really lucky to stay at this accommodation for the last 2 years that we've run the program. So we're really looking forward to going back there because it's very known to the staff. And it's operated by the Ski Club of Victoria. This particular lodge is beautifully situated right next to the medical centre and very, very close to the chairlifts, which make getting to our lessons and the ski field nice and easy. We will be transported to Mount Buller by a company called Buller Bus. Then once we arrive, all our bags will be loaded onto the Oversnow transport and then taken to our lodge. Now, the cost of this camp is going to be about approximately $1,600, which sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. But we will be taking that in scheduled payments, so you don't have to pay it all at once. So all that we ask for this year is a $200 deposit to confirm your child's place. Now, we really ask that you think about this with your family before signing up, because this is a very committed program. It's hard to evacuate students from Mount Buller, and it's obviously a big cost as well. Now, if these 3 scheduled payments that happen throughout 2024 don't work financially for your family, we are happy to make alternative arrangements. All you need to do is contact the office and the business manager, and they can set you up on a different type of payment plan. Now, because we're travelling as a school group, we actually get a heavily discounted package for ski hire or snowboard hire lessons and lift passes. Students are welcome to bring their own equipment, and you will make a small saving if you have your own equipment. However, it is not worth going and buying equipment for this camp. The quality of the equipment that we get at Mount Buller is excellent, and if we have any problems with that equipment, we can just take it straight back and they swap it out for us. So unlike your own equipment, if you bring that along, I can't guarantee it can necessarily be serviced while we're there if something does go wrong. So it's a great opportunity to take advantage of the school package that you can only get with a school group. There will be 3 meals a day provided by the Wit, which is an amazing quality restaurant at Mount Buller. I highly recommend that you have a Google of the Wit restaurant because the menu there is outstanding and the quality of the food is excellent. So they're well catered for in terms of breakfast, lunch and dinner. And that is also owned by the Ski Club of Victoria. So as I just said, we'll be meeting on the Tuesday morning at Graythorn Road. We quickly load everything into the coach and drive up to Mount Buller. We'll then collect our hire equipment and walk up the hill to the Wit with our hire equipment for lunch. Then straight after lunch, we get dressed in all our gear and we go out for our first ski and snowboard lesson with the instructors. After that, we will return to the lodge and have a quick shower and unpack our bags and settle into our rooms. And then we make our way back to the Wit for dinner. While just before dinner, though, we'll be meeting with Mount Buller ski patrol, and it will run through some really important safety information with our students. And then we'll have dinner, and then we come back to the lodge where the students have a chance to just unwind and relax and lead themselves in some sort of engaged activity for the evening. On Wednesday and Thursday, we rise quite early for breakfast because we have an 8 a.m. lesson. And we just find it's best to get going on the day in these conditions, and the wind is normally better in the morning as well. So students will have a lesson. After that lesson, they'll be split into small groups of about 5 to 10 students to certain areas on the mountain. And once they will always be supervised by a teacher or parent, and then and we'll do that in our small groups until lunchtime. We go to the WIT for lunch. Then after lunch, we'll have another lesson, and then another free ski in groups, and then we return back to the lodge no later than 4:30. And 4:30 is like the final time. Often we're back at the lodge from around 3:30, 3:45, just because everyone's so tired and they've had enough, and we're happy to come back at that time. We have our shower and some snacks maybe before dinner, and then we'll head over to the WIT again for dinner. And then after dinner, we come back to our lodge and students can lead themselves again in some other activities. More on that a bit later. Then on Friday, the last day, students will wake up early and pack their bags. They'll have one final ski lesson, and then we return to the WIT for lunch, and we quickly grab our belongings, put them on the over snow transport to take it back down there to the bus area. And then we walk down, drop off our hire equipment and board the bus. And we'll be ready to be picked up from Greythorn Road at around 6:30 p.m. But we will keep you up to date on Compass about our arrival time for that as well. Now, we have got some amazing staff at this school that are very capable skiers and snowboarders. And so far we have Miss Banyez, Miss Shepherd, myself, Miss Marino, Miss Now, and Mr. Searle will be joining us on this program. So we're really looking forward to that. But we will need some parent volunteers as well. We're looking for 3 to 4 parent volunteers on this camp, but every parent volunteer needs to be able to ski or snowboard on a blue run, because ultimately lots of our students will be skiing or snowboarding on a blue run by the end of the week, and we need adults to be able to supervise students in small groups. Obviously agree to supervise the students on the slopes and agree to supervise students in other capacities as well. Everyone who volunteers on this program requires a current working with children check, and the bonuses are that all equipment, meals, accommodation, lift passes, snow jacket and pants can be provided. I do have to say that this is a dry program and consumption of alcohol is strictly prohibited. So there's a lot of equipment that you can bring yourself or available for hire. Now, hire of skis, ski boots, ski poles, snowboards, snowboard boots, wrist guards and helmets are included in the overall cost. If you would like to bring your own, you're more than welcome to, and that will make a small saving per child of around $100. But it's not financially worth buying this equipment new. Let me stress that. The clothing and equipment that you will need to provide for students are the waterproof gloves. And I prefer students to have waterproof mittens, to be honest, because they're just much, much easier for them to put on and off. When you are purchasing children's gloves or mittens, you need to make sure that they are nice and big and that they can get them on over their inner gloves. We often have a problem with children not being able to get their inner gloves inside their waterproof gloves, and they get really cold hands really quickly. So it's really important that their waterproof gloves fit them properly and that they have room to move in them. The other pair of gloves you'll see there is the yellow dishwashing gloves, and every student needs a pair of these, because if their gloves go missing for whatever reason, this is the backup plan. They cost like $1.50 from the supermarket, so you cannot go wrong with those. Now, ski jackets and ski pants are available for hire. However, I find students do prefer to supply their own. And with the Aldi ski sale and Facebook Marketplace, you can now pick up really good quality items at a really reasonable price. So if you are going to buy anything for this camp that is technical, I suggest that the overpants, the snow pants, and the snow jacket be the place to start. It is really important that all students have a hood on their snow jacket and that it is really waterproof and really breathable. So just check the ratings on those jackets and pants. You're looking for something around the 10,000 litre mark. So just keep your eyes on those things. Obviously, Gore-Tex is the primo fabric, but lots of other fabrics do the same job now. So that's the outer layer, the things that the students need to wear on the outside. We're just going to go on to the base layer, the very bottom inside layer. And everybody needs two sets of thermals, so like these stripy ones in the picture here. And they are really, really important, and the children must wear them regardless of the weather. So they need to have long legs and long arms. They need to be made of polypropylene or wool. And they must have two sets, like I said, just in case they get really wet one day. They can leave them in the lodge to dry, and they can wear their other set and swap them over. And also, because no one likes smelly bed buddies, it's always good to have another set there just to keep everything nice and clean. They will need 4 pairs of really warm socks and 2 inner gloves with the fleecy or wool material. And like I said before, it's really important that those fleece gloves fit on underneath their outer gloves. So double check that that can happen. All children need to have a neck warmer and like this blue fleece one, or you can also get them in wool. Obviously, fleece is much, much cheaper, but some people don't like it on their skin. So merino wool is kind of like the Lamborghini version, I suppose. It's a bit more expensive and people prefer it on their skin, but it's an individual choice and either will do the job. Everyone will need 2 warm jumpers. So they need to be made of, again, polypropylene fleece or wool. And the school zip-up blue jumper is actually excellent. So the fleecy jumper with the zip is one jumper. Then you just need to supply one more jumper that's made of polypropylene or wool. Students cannot wear cotton on the snow, and we actually check their clothing to make sure it's appropriate. No cotton hoodies will be allowed to be worn on the snow. In Australia, the weather can turn and be very, very wet. And if you're wearing that cotton clothing, it actually makes you so much colder, so much quicker. So we need to make sure that they're safe and warm, and that if anything does go slightly wrong, then at least we know they're dressed appropriately and they can handle the elements. An option as well here we've got is a vest, because on some days it might be a little bit cold, but you don't want your whole jumper on underneath all your clothes. So you might just want to wear a vest. And again, made of polypropylene, fleece or wool, but that is an optional item. Everybody needs to bring with them snow goggles and sunglasses. And every year we have a couple of students whose goggles break or they lose them. So it's really, really important that they have both. Students are not permitted to go out on the snow without eye protection, and the sunglasses are just a really cheap backup. So must have goggles, must have sunglasses. They must be polarized and they must be tinted. And students really need to have them on, or we can't take them outside in snow conditions. And everybody needs to have their own sunscreen. 50 plus is preferred. No one likes sunburnt nostrils, and that's what happens in the snow with the reflection. So more often than not, we get really sunburned on these trips unless we're really well prepared. For the lodge and for the bus, students will need a small backpack, a large drink bottle that they can refill, toiletries, toothbrush, toothpaste, hairbrush, soap, shampoo, conditioner, and a small towel. Please keep these things to a minimum. Obviously, they need pajamas. They're welcome to bring their slippers. Everybody must have hiking boots and these or snow boots, and therefore wearing on the bus. And for if whatever reason the lifts are on wind hold, we might do some activities walking around the village. But we also need them to get from our lodge to where we have dinner, because it is a short walk in the snow. So everybody needs to have suitable footwear for that. Everybody needs underwear, a set for each day, and maybe one or two spare. You're welcome to bring a beanie, but you don't wear your beanie under your skiing helmet. So we'll talk to the students about that, but this is just a beanie to wear when we're outside. You're welcome to bring a couple of t-shirts, some tracky pants or yoga pants, and then some toys, games, cards, camera, instruments, books, heat pack, and homework. Now let's talk about snacks. Some of the students love this part, planning and preparing their snacks. There's two types of snacks that they're going to need, and they're small snacks that will fit in their pocket, like muesli bars or little chocolate bars that you see there, or little lollies that are wrapped up individually. And then there are snacks that they can keep in the lodge, like hot drinks or microwave popcorn or Milo. So I like to have some snacks for after the snow in the lodge, and that can be dip and vegetables, or it can be a hot cup of soup. And then I like to have some food in my pocket just in case you get hungry in between meals. We like to suggest that snacks are high in energy and low GI, or a mix of high and low GI. We don't want all sugar in the children's snacks, because it just leads to children being really tired and not properly, because we're being so physically active. It's really important to have those muesli bar type snacks to get you through as well. We also ask that there's minimal packaging where possible, remove excess packaging, and try and pack the smallest version you can. So rather than packing polystyrene cuppa noodles, just bring the cuppa noodle chicken ones like you see in the picture here, just to keep it as small as possible. If you want to bring Milo, that's great, but put it in a couple of Snaplock bags rather than having the whole tin. Gatorade is another, powdered Gatorade is another really good thing, because we just sometimes forget to drink when we're skiing in the cold all the time, and you actually get quite dehydrated. So if your child enjoys that sort of a drink, that's another really good thing to bring along. Now, for evening entertainment, after dinner, students will be required to engage in a quiet, self-directed activity. Now, that can be something like a board game with a few friends. It could be some sort of Rubik's Cube. You can journal. They're welcome to bring an instrument, as long as they check with the teacher first. Mindful colouring, card games, anything that entertains them, and a book are great, because in the evenings the staff have been really physically active as well, and they're tired, and so it's up to the students to self-entertain. There are two television areas in the lodge that both have DVD players, so if students want to bring along some G or PG rated films, then they can be viewed as well. So those are the sorts of things that we're expecting from the students. Students are not to bring iPads, phones, smartwatches of any kind, gaming devices, and any unnecessary equipment. This is a technology-free camp and a chance for children to work on their interpersonal skills, and they can't do that when they've got a device in front of them. So that's why we say no devices. We just ask that you consider the equipment list a maximum list and a minimum list, that you can't bring anything extra, and that's the absolute maximum you can take, but you can't leave anything off because everything is essential. So try and stick to the list as best you can. Before we go to the snow, we will be having a few student preparation meetings, and a lot of it will be to discuss this Alpine Responsibility Code. Now, we expect our students to know their ability to stay in control and wear their safety equipment at all times. We take lessons to improve, and above all, we are courteous to each other and to other users on the mountain. And it's really nice to see students going, "Oh, Miss Marino, somebody hit me and they didn't even give way and they were above me." It's so good that our students understand how to be safe, and therefore they are a bit self-righteous when somebody hits them. We really want to minimize any injuries and want to keep everyone safe out there. So that's why we discuss this in detail before we go, and then talk to Ski Patrol at Mount Buller about it once we get there. So we expect that students always wear the appropriate safety equipment, that they ski and snowboard with an adult at all times, that they wear their Greythorn identification vest and carry a small card which will have our emergency contact information on it. We want them to stay warm and hydrated as best possible. They will be wearing their sun protection, sun protection, sun protection. And that means goggles. We don't want any sunburnt eyes, and we want everybody to be putting on sunscreen before they go skiing in the morning and again at lunchtime. And above all, we just want to look out for each other. We say prevention is better than a cure. So if you're starting to develop anything minor like a blister or sore muscles, you let your teachers know, and then we can do something about it, like specific stretches and things like that that will help improve your time. Or if it gets really bad, we can call mum and dad and talk to them about pain relief as well. We don't want anyone getting to the point where they're miserable on camp. And the same goes with blisters. We can strap them and cover them so they don't get worse. So bookings open this Friday, the 9th of August at 7 p.m. So if your child is interested, please go to www.trybooking.com/C, M, Y, H, D to secure your child's place. But before you do, I just want to clarify a couple of terms. You'll be asked to select your student's skiing or snowboarding level. Now, first time means they've never skied or snowboarded before, and that's nice and straightforward. So you just select that if your child has never skied or snowboarded before. A beginner is anything above anyone that can safely ride a chairlift. Now, if you've gone to Lake Mountain for the day and you've put on some cross-country skis, but that's all, you're still considered a first-time skier. Okay, so if you can't ride a chairlift, please pick first-time skier. If you can safely ride a chairlift and safely make it down a green run, then you're a beginner skier or snowboarder, and then it goes up from there. So intermediate skier and then or snowboarder and advanced. And please make sure that you're selecting the most appropriate level for your child, because if we've got an advanced skier or snowboarder, we want to make sure they're getting a lesson that's appropriate to them as well. We don't want them being bored in a lesson that's too easy for them. So it's an important part of the booking process. So if you have any unaddressed concerns, or if your child has some specific requirements that you might be a little bit concerned about, please do reach out to myself at jane.marino@education.vic.gov.au, and we are more than willing to explore how we can help your child participate in this amazing program. So that concludes my talk. If you have any questions, come and see me. Otherwise, we look forward to taking you on snow camp in 2024. Thanks for listening. Bye.